other keynote speakers who are here. We shall have that plenary session of asking questions because we're here to get solutions and really drive solution-driven conversations across the board. That's okay? Excellent. So please stand to the person sitting next to you. Tell them Karibu Sana. Yeah. There are people who are like, Karibu. It's okay. Yeah, you can look at them nicely with a better smile. So at this moment, I want to request Bwana Henry Oching, the Kara CEO, to kindly come and welcome us and let us know what's in the offing. Karibu Sana. Let's appreciate him with a clap for that.
I hope you can all see me. Very well. So thank you so much for creating time to be here this morning. As always, I'm seeing familiar faces, some new faces, but all the same, we are here for a common purpose and for a reason, to learn, to share, to understand a number of things, and just make sure that we are better citizens and we are able to make informed choices and informed decisions. So as you've heard, my name is Henry Chieng, CEO at Kara, and this is our first bi-monthly talk series forum this year. I know we've had many of them in the past, but for this year, this is the first time we are convening under this platform of our bi-monthly talk series forum. I want to thank all of you for creating time to be here, and today we are talking about a very interesting subject. I know that a number of us relate to this because none of us here has not had the experience of walking into a government office and getting frustrated in terms of getting one service or the other, accessing one service or the other, and then you start asking yourself, where do I go? You've gone to this office, you've gone to that office, you've tried this, you've tried that, you've hit a block wall, so you start asking yourself, what next? What are the other options do I have? So I want to believe that by the end of this session today, you'll be able to understand a little bit more that there are more options, there are other options that you can consider when you are faced with that kind of a challenge. And the whole idea is to be able to really understand that as a responsible citizen, what is it that we need to do to hold the government accountable? But then what is it that we must do to make sure that we have options that we can explore when we are facing certain challenges in terms of access to services? So I don't want to preempt the conversations today. I don't want to talk much about it. Mine is just to welcome you warmly into this session, and as always, urge you to listen carefully, engage actively, make sure that you ask questions, you share ideas, and like I always say, nobody has monopoly of ideas, nobody has monopoly of knowledge. We all know something or the other that we can share among us and enable us to learn from each other. So when you get the opportunity, especially during plenary, if you have something that you believe can be useful to us as the way you are gathered here, feel free to share. Let's learn from each other. Let's be able to look at how we can be more informed and more knowledgeable as a responsible citizen. So without taking much time, let me just recognize a few guests that are here with us. Not guests really, but some of them are your hosts. Starting with the governing council members who are here with us this morning. Where's Charity? Charity Kyoko is one of us at the governing council. Thank you, Charity, for joining us. Where's Mr. Namu? Mr. Namu, Ata Namu there, is also a governing council member. And then Mr. Richard Nyaga, our chairman, seated right here. So those are some of the Kara GC members who are here with us. Maybe some of them will join. Let me also appreciate, I know the chair will do that, but also at a personal level, just appreciate our partners, Hansdale Foundation, represented by Daniel over there, who have been faithful partners for many years. And we know that we are still going far. We are still going to do a number of exploits together because we speak the same language. We want the same thing for this country. And we want to make sure that everyone in this country as a citizen is empowered and is able to play their roles and responsibility effectively as required by the Constitution. So ladies and gentlemen, mine was to just welcome you and tell you to feel at home, engage, and let's make this session as productive as we can. Asante San.
Thank you so much, CEO. Asante Sana. Yeah. Please allow me to just, before I invite our chairman to give us the opening remarks, to allow us to, because if you look, if some of you have had the privilege of having the program, and if you look at the program, Kara is also represented in the social media, because we also need to let people know that this is happening, that we talk about these things and all that. And there's actually a designated hashtag for the day, which is hashtag Kara Nairobi Forum. Kara Nairobi Forum. So when hashtags are put in place, it means we have to use them. Hello? We have to use them, right? Yes. You remember we have had our powerful prayer and everything else, which is quite good. So please, I want to request that we do this. The person sitting next to you who has a better phone, just take a selfie. I'll tell you what to do with it. Just take a nice picture of yourselves or something like that. Just get out your phone. That's the instruction. Don't worry. All is well. All is well. Just take your phone. Take a nice, I like that. Yeah, somebody's already up on that. Some people are wondering, yeah. Yes, I mean it. Like, take the phone. Take a very good picture with someone next to you. If they're not smiling, you can walk to someone else who has a better smile. Come attacking, that kind of thing. Yes, do that kind of thing. And we want to use that hashtag, because why did they put the hashtag there? It's supposed to be used. So let's use it. I want you to post that, whatever you can post it on. Is it LinkedIn? Is it on your X or Twitter? Something like that. Some people are like, oh, I need to smile. Yes, you need to. Yeah, it's very important. Please do that. Very important, yes. So let's share this out now. And of course, remember the hashtag is Kara Nairobi Forum. Hashtag Kara Nairobi Forum. You never know who I will check and see that they already posted very fast and what gift they might go home with. So just be careful. You never know what's going to happen. Thank you so much. On behalf of the people with the other phones that don't have cameras, I'll do one groupie one for the sake of. There you go. Thank you so much for being obedient. Sometimes I know it's not easy to do that. Somebody told me this. Mina, the last time you told us to take selfies, I took one and I was sitting next to a beautiful lady and I forgot to post it. And when I went home, I was in trouble. Please make sure you post. It helps. And put the hashtag, Kara. Unaweza kuwa umepiga picture just for the sake of it. We don't want you to get in trouble. Thank you so much. And at this moment, please allow me to invite Mr. Richard Nyaga, the chairman, Kara, to kindly come and give us the opening remarks. Let's appreciate him with a clap as he comes. Tafadhali. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Karibuni to this nice place, which is very central. We are almost in the center of town, which is good for everybody. I want specifically to welcome all of you to this forum, which obviously I hope will be very active, in the discussion. And I thank you all for turning up very early on time. I also would like to welcome our guest speakers tonight or today. I'm told they are sitting around there, but very soon you'll see them in front. We have Dr. Miss Florence Mombi, who is here. She's here. So soon she'll be coming there. She is the Director, Complaints Investigation and Legal Services at Commission on Administrative Justice. We also have Dr. Bernard Mogesi. Mogesi or Geto. Is he around? He's sitting on the other side. You'll be seeing him in the front also. And Miss Irene Maithia. She's also here. Thank you very much for coming early and being present. Asanteni sana. Please allow me to welcome our members. Some come from distant estates in Nairobi, but they are here earlier than those who come from near here. Well done. Congratulations. And the Karibuni. And we have, of course, as usual, our members of the press who join us to be able to report on what we do so that the people, who matter, who make decisions, can hear what the residents of Nairobi are saying. Asanteni. Karibuni sana. This is our 110th bi-monthly talk series. And the 110th, we have had some supporters, sponsors, Hansito Foundation, represented by their director. They have supported us loyally all those years, more than 20 years, been supporting us, and we thank them very much for their loyalty, their support, and their availability. Whenever we need them, they are available here. Their director is here, and we are very grateful. Today, as we celebrate our 110th bi-monthly talk series, we wish to recognize that all these years, in some way or other, we have made an impact in how our city, our country is governed. Even if it's 10% contribution, it's worth something. So it is very useful that we actually meet to do these things. Our topic today, as you know, is what is the role of administrative justice in promoting accountability and affording access to better services in our country. We appreciate that we have had this discussion before, but today we hope we can reach some conclusions which will make an impact in the way our country, of course, is governed. As you know, Article 47 of our Constitution provides that every person in Kenya has the right to administrative action that is expeditious, efficient, lawful, reasonable, and procedurally fair. The Commission on Administrative Justice, which I'm told is called Ombudsman, was established to enhance responsiveness and accountability in the public sector. Generally, Kenya's public service is associated with bureaucracy and non-responsiveness, leading to low public confidence on the ability of government institutions to meet our expectations. With the establishment of the CAJ, an avenue was created where complaints on unsatisfactory service delivery could be directed. The question, however, is whether there has been any improvement in the way public sector institutions conduct their affairs, and whether public confidence on the government institutions to provide services has improved. Has the inclusion of right to fair administrative action in the Constitution, has it improved service delivery in Kenya? Are Kenyans aware of the existing resources to unsatisfactory service delivery created by our Constitution? What are the human rights perspectives on the administrative justice? These are some of the questions we expect to be highlighted today, and for which, of course, our speakers are going to address themselves and give us some answers. We have a very distinguished panel of speakers. I have actually introduced them, and you'll be hearing from them. We welcome them. We are very happy to have them. I urge you, Oro, to listen actively to them, to engage them in question and answer, and to let all of us learn together. I wish to thank you all for coming early, and I look forward to a lively and interactive session. Asante sana, and I hand you over again to our moderator. Asante.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Let's appreciate him one more time with a clap. Asante sana, Wada Richard, for those remarks. We want to move on straight in this particular remarks, And as you've heard from the CEO, just to first of all recognize the partners who are here, and we're going to get remarks from Mr. Daniel Sibaling, resident representatives from Hans Seidel Foundation. A round of applause to him as he comes, please. Mr. Daniel, karibu sana.
Good morning to everybody. Henry, Mr. Nyanga, thank you very much for bearing with us for 110 BTSs already. We're going strong, and we're going far, I hope, with our cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about administrative justice, we mostly talk about it when something goes wrong. When the government or those who are working on its behalf act in a way that appear wrong, unfair, or unjust to us. That encompasses matters of everyday importance to all of us, such as housing, education, police, healthcare, immigration, planning, social security, and taxation. And whenever we feel treated unfairly, then we go to the Commission on Administrative Justice and we complain to the Ombudsman. I think we need to talk more about the understanding of administrative justice as a general framework that ensures that government bodies and those who exercise public functions make decisions that are, as Mr. Nyanga already quoted, are legally supportable, reasoned, timely, procedurally fair, and intelligible. When dealing with cases involving citizens and businesses, individual circumstances and affairs. And if we look at administrative justice in that sense, then it becomes very close to the general concept of good governance, because that's what we want governance to be in general. Fair, reasoned, timely, and intelligible. And in that sense, administrative justice plays a crucial role in promoting accountability and access to better service delivery in Kenya, but not only in Kenya, all over the world. Because at the bottom, that's what we expect from civil service, how civil servants should behave and how the civil service should be organized. And luckily, as a German, I can confidently talk about that, because people who are in the know knows who Max Weber, and know that Max Weber is a German. So we have a long tradition dealing with the questions of service delivery, of good service delivery, of the role of civil servants in society. And I think we came to a point in the European development, in Germany especially, that we expect the best service we can get from our civil servants. And there are a lot of layers where you can complain about it, but we do not necessarily think about the complaint in the beginning. When we enter an administrative building, we expect to be treated fairly, intelligibly, according to the law, and of course we expect to understand what the decisions are made on. On the other side, in the expectation of being treated fairly, we are most likely to accept the decisions which have been taken place. And that goes through all instances, but of course it's relatively close to the community level even, and that's why the resident associations play a very important role. Most of these decisions are not taken on a general level, somewhere up in the capital. Most of these decisions are taken on the ward level or latest on the county level, because that's what really influences the life of people there. And there are many ways where you can interact with the decision makers and try to find out what went wrong, if something went wrong, or you expect to be treated fairly. But that again is a result of over 100 years of seriously working with civil service, of developing civil service, of creating a whole caste of civil servants who are privileged in a certain sense, but who are under very close scrutiny and are really keen on to deliver properly, because they risk something. When they do not deliver, they risk their whole professional career, actually, in the worst case. So that's what we are proud of, that we managed to deliver a very powerful and very well organized system of civil servants who are double and triple checked not to misuse the power they are given by government. But of course that's a development decision, because that costs money. You have to invest in these people, you have to train these people, you have to give them social and other security guarantees to make them able to deliver non-biased decisions which are again legal and acceptable. And that's what we are working for. That's what we hope that the countries we are engaging with, Kenya included, might be reached. And I think discussions like these will help us to get on that way, to help the understanding of both sides, of the civil servants, but also of the serviced people, to come together to create a common understanding, to create a common uh, approach of how these administrative things should be done. Of course, mistakes happen, and sometimes I'm personally are not happy with the decision that is taking place, but that happens all over the world. The question is how you deal with it, how a system deals with it. And like I said, usually these decisions are made relatively quickly because public servants are easy accessible in Germany. And if something is wrong, relatively quickly you can complain either to the organization who is there for the complaints or to a higher level of administration to find out. The worst case that can happen to you in Germany is, you might be laughing, if you have to deal with the German embassy abroad. Because if I want to invite Robertson to come to Germany, and the German embassy will not give us a visa for him, they will not tell me here in Nairobi what went wrong. I have to write a letter to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Germany. They have up to 4 months to come up with an explanation for the decision that was taken in the embassy in Nairobi, and only after that I can react to the decision. Then I can take legal measures in the worst case and say, no, that decision which was taken in the German embassy was wrong or was not legal, or we provided the documents or whatever it is. But that is the worst you can do, because in that point you do not have a person to talk to. You are just fighting against an anonymous structure, and that is the worst that can happen as a citizen when dealing with civil servants. So I hope discussions like ours today will help to create that better understanding of working together, and I'm looking really forward to our panel discussion with eminent guests and people who really know what we are talking about today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel, for those remarks and even the experience that you have on speaking about how it compares as well to places like Germany. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we want to just get one more presentation and then get to that amazing panel discussion as well. And in the house, we have Miss Florence Mombi. And Miss Florence Mombi is the Director, Complaints, Investigations and Legal Services at the Commission on Administrative Justice. And so I want to request that she comes to take us through that presentation. Let's appreciate her with a round of applause as she comes. Makofi tafadhali. Karibu sana, Miss Florence Mombi.
The Chair of the Governing Council, Council members, CEO, Mr. Daniel, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, good morning. Good morning once more. Is this place very cold for everyone? Okay, thank you very much. I expect to project my presentation because we normally have pictures when you're talking to the members of the public. I am quite delighted to be here today, and I'm representing my chair. My name is Florence Mumbi. I'm the Director in charge of Complaints, Investigations, and Legal Services at the Commission on Administrative Justice, commonly known as the Office of the Ombudsman. My chair is Honorable Florence Kajuju. She had really wanted to be here today with you, but because of many other duties, she had to be out of the country for some urgent assignments. I hope she believed in me, and I think we'll be able to discuss these matters of administrative justice, which the speakers have spoken about even before I came here. They've really addressed these issues very well. So, before they connect for me my machine, I always make a deliberate effort to introduce Ombudsman. Because of what I've seen on social media, our MC has said we go to social media platforms. In our normal course of doing our duties, we do a lot of matters and we attract a lot of success stories. And this one particular success story made me realize that not everybody understands the Commission on Administrative Justice or the Office of the Ombudsman. There's this story which was featured for a lady in Naivasha. This lady had pursued her title deed for over 10 years. Then she heard about our office. We normally do public education in many places. We do things called Huduma Mashinani. Huduma Mashinani means that we go to the slums, we go to Kibera, we go to Korogosh, we go to Dagoretti, we go to market days. We visit market days to talk to the members of the public. And somebody told this lady, why don't you go to Ombudsman and pursue your title deed? When she came to our offices, within 2-3 months, we were able to engage the registrars and she got her title deed. Then from there, we went to our Facebook page, as we always do, posted a success story, because that is also a way of informing the members of the public of what we do. Then wananchi were saying, this is good, this is good. Then one of my brothers came up and said, no wonder BBI had to collapse. This institution had to just be independent. And from that point, I told myself, wow, anyway, the comment is good, but people still think that we are the judiciary ombudsman. We are different. This ombudsman is the Commission on Administrative Justice, which is an independent commission established to redress maladministration. So when I saw that comment, I told myself, hey, people are still in the BBI, and they are saying that BBI had to collapse, but now they don't understand what we do. And as you can see from this presentation, our slogan is, hata mnyonge ana haki, on top of here, somewhere here. Hata mnyonge ana haki does not mean that it's about the poor person. Today, you can be a mnyonge as a resident association chair, or even the CEO. You wake up and find that Kura or Kenha has dug a trench outside your gate. You cannot cross. You go to Kenha and they tell you, we are doing our work. You go to all government offices and they tell you, we're still doing our work. The government does not have money. Find a solution. What will you do? You are a rich person in your good neighborhood estate, but you cannot use your gate. So that is how now we say we are wanyonges at different levels. So as I start, the theme is very clear. It has been discussed, has been mentioned, the role of administrative justice in promoting accountability and access to better service delivery in Kenya. It's about CAJ, that is our acronym, and CARA. In our session today, by the time we leave this place, I expect us to be able to understand the establishment, functions, and mandate of CAJ. Then from there, we'll be able to appreciate the role of CAJ and also CARA in promotion of administrative justice and promotion of accountability in public service. Then we'll also look at the areas where we can collaborate and cooperate as two institutions. Ombudsman is a Swedish term. It came from Sweden, and it means a representative of the people. And we have one professor, Professor Neil Milner, who said an ombudsman has an obligation when it spots trouble, when it spots patterns, basically to speak truth to power. In government offices, we have many malpractices. You go to a government institution, it has been mentioned by the chair, the CEO, our speaker, Mr. Daniel here, and you realize that there are very many challenges in these institutions. As an ombudsman, we not only pursue what you people come to complain about, we also take up matters on our own motion. We call it suomoto. You can be walking around and see a dumping place, and you go, you take it up and take it with the county government and ask them, what are you doing about this? You cannot dump rubbish anywhere on the roads. You read the papers, we pick up a matter, we call it suomoto matters. On our own motion, we take it up, even before the Mwananchi has come to us to complain. So, I wanted us to understand a bit about the history of the Ombudsman. I'll be very brief. I'm told I only have 15 minutes. MC, I can talk until the cows come home. I'll try to summarize. Those who are old enough have heard about the Ndegwa Commission of 1971. They've heard about the then Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission, Vision 2030. They all saw these malpractices in government offices, and they said, we need an institution that will instill some good governance practices, some discipline. I attend some sessions, and there's a professor of UON, Professor Kameri Mbete, who says, these institutions came to redress bad manners. Zilikuja kukosoa tabia mbaya kwa maofisi ya serikali. Sindio? We will see that as we move on. So in 2007, there was established the Public Complaint Standing Committee, which came up to be able to address these malpractices in government offices. And that one gave birth to now the current CAJ, which was established in September 2011 under the CAJ Act. Okay. We are established under Article 59.4. You all heard the chair talk about it. And all commissions are under Chapter 15 of the Constitution and the CAJ Act of 2011. We have 3 commissioners and a secretariat. The mandate of the commission is twofold, and it extends to both the national and county governments. The first mandate is promotion of administrative justice in Kenya. This is what we are talking about today mainly, where we redress maladministration, malpractices in government service. And in 2016, we got an additional mandate, which is Oversighting and Enforcement of Access to Information Act. This is a new area. It's very interesting. You need to understand it as private people because it's really helping people to get access to information, which is a right under the Constitution. CAJ is present in the headquarters. We are at Westlands along Wayaki Way. We have 6 regional offices. I'll give the presentation because of time. Then we are in 12 Huduma centers. I'll share the presentation. The Nairobi one is at GPO. We are almost all over the country. We have representation in almost everywhere in the country. And in doing our work, we have a policy direction, and the policy direction is geared towards 4 areas. Resolution of public complaints. This is when we get complaints, we resolve them, or we even pick those complaints on our own motion. Then we also oversight and enforce access to information. You will see that as I move on, because it's really a very interesting and emerging area where we can take advantage of. Then we do a lot of public education, awareness, and visibility, like what I'm doing today. We talk to people, we let them know what we do, we create awareness among the members of the public, and the other one is the internal one of strengthening the institution and capacity building. In promotion of administrative justice, what does administrative justice mean? It is the standard required of public entities to adhere to due process principles when making administrative decisions or taking administrative action. This mandate covers all public entities and officers at the national and county levels of government. You heard the chair allude to Article 47 of the Constitution. Every person has a right to a fair administrative action that is efficient, that is effective, that is expeditious and procedurally fair. In promoting administrative justice, that is the article that guides the Commission. How do we promote administrative justice in the Commission? We do this through complaint management, where we do inquiries. If a complaint comes to us, we don't take it as gospel truth. We give everybody an opportunity to be heard. We do inquiries. We'll do letters to the concerned parties, and they'll give us their say. They'll give their responses. And we also do investigations, and both specific and systemic. Specific is on a specific issue, where there is an issue about the county government of Nairobi. We go specifically to the county government of Nairobi and investigate what they are doing. We can do a systemic. A systemic is where we have major main processes, systems, policies cutting across. For example, there is one that we did about the plight of our domestic workers in the Saudi Arabia kingdom. You heard about our girls. When they were going to Saudi Arabia, instead of coming alive, we're just getting bodies at the airport. We did that systemic investigation, labor, the employment agencies, these private institutions. And by doing that, we come up with very serious recommendations. And after doing our investigations, we've been able to see a lot happening. We also did a specific on immigration. After doing our immigration, on how Kenyans have been suffering at the immigration offices. You see the CS, Professor Kithure Kindiki, go to immigration offices because we went to parliament, told them Kenyans are suffering. They are being overcharged. There's a lot of delay in getting passports. It is because of our investigations that we're able to take action. So once we do our investigations, we notify the public, we release to the media, and we call the respondents to our offices so they can take up action, and we follow up on recommendations. We do capacity building, we do public education, we do advisory opinions. When you are not very sure of what you want to do a policy, you write to CAJ, we'll give advisory opinions. We also do to the government. And we do a lot of public interest litigation. We are sued. We are enjoined in many matters. So many of them start with Shakahola, start with appointments, and we go to represent the public interest, the mnyonge, not the government, the mnyonge, because ours is public interest litigation. So when we talk about redressing maladministration, what are we talking about? It means bad or improper administration or failure of a public agency to effectively perform its functions. What do we do? When you go to government offices, you will see a lot of delay. Come tomorrow, come the day after tomorrow, come the next week, come to our office and report that action, that issue. Inaction, inefficiency, ineptitude, discourtesy, incompetence, and unresponsiveness. We've caused very many senior government officers to apologize to Mwananchi because they just came and they were very rude. They were very discourteous. They were very incompetent in the manner of doing their work. That is what CAJ does. This is a very good example of what we see in our public offices. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Are you seeing something there? This is a registration office. The officers are there. My brother is sleeping, listening to his music. The phone has even fallen off. My sister there is taking tea, knitting on Facebook. Wananchi are queuing. Are you seeing the way the queue is long? So those are the kind of things we experience in our daily occurrences. And when you see such matters, those are the issues that we redress in public service. Others are pictorial examples like delay in delivery of public services, inefficiency, improper conduct, abuse of power, where people just go to work and you are fired without any explanation. You go, you want to pay for a certain fee. The service center talks about 20 shillings or 50 shillings. You're being told it's 500. Where is this coming from? Those are kind of things that we look into. You just come to us and say, I went to this institution, I was charged this much, and we address that matter. You'll also see public officers misusing public resources. These are the kind of things that we do. Improper conduct, abuse of power, misbehavior. Those are things that we look into. So the commission has powers that you can make use of. We have very big powers, if I can say. We can summon people to come to our office and respond. And when they don't come, we have powers to report them to Parliament as unresponsive and unfit to hold public office. So in every reporting, we do our reports biannually. We normally give the names. In fact, this is personal. It's not the office. Because it gets to a point where we start with the institution. Who is the accounting officer? It's the CEO. We summon the CEO in his personal capacity now, in his name. Using his name. If he does not come, we report him to Parliament. We cite them as unfit to hold public office, and at times that can be used against people. When you want to get big offices, we are told, give us the list of the people whom you have cited, whom you have cited as unfit and unresponsive to hold public office. We can ask you to produce documents, we can interview you, we can call you to offices to explain more. Those are some of the powers that the Commission has. But as we exercise our powers, we are still limited. We have some limitations. If a matter is in court, we will not interfere. We let the court process take place. If another institution is investigating, for example, somebody has come to report about corruption, EACC is in it, we leave our other commissions to take up their matter. Unless there is delay. If there is delay with EACC, you come to us because that is administrative action. If you go to DCI, they are investigating, but they are delaying, you come to us. But if the process is ongoing and it's going on well, we do not interfere. You will not come to us and challenge a decision of the cabinet, awards of honors by the president. If it's about international relations, like Mr. Daniel said, we'll take to Foreign Affairs and then deal. But 4 months is a bit long. For us, we would really interfere and tell the Foreign Affairs Ministry, you are not serving the Mnyonge very well. Let us reduce the time frame. Let us give explanations. And access to information, you'll see how that is going to apply. Then now the other mandate, because I'm trying to rush through because of time, is on enforcement of the right of access to information. This right implements Article 35 of the Constitution. Have you ever heard about Article 35? Mmewahi sikia habari about kupata habari? If you want information in a government office, it is your right to ask. Even, it's not even public office, even a private entity. It is your right to ask. We are seeing shoddy work along this road. Who was the contractor? That is your right. How much money? How was the tendering process? That is your right. If you don't get this information, you come to CAJ. You write after 21 days of requisition and you don't get the information, write to CAJ, complain against this government entity or some private entities. Like now this Kara. Kara can be challenged because it's a private entity serving a big number of public. Don't come asking about Mr. So-and-so's household, but an entity that is taking care of public interest. You have the right to get your information so as to be able to pursue the issues of interest. So, and we can also take up Suomoto. The other day we realized Kenya Power had started issuing bills. When you buy tokens, they no longer break down. There's a time they stop breaking down. You're just saying you've paid 3,000, you've gotten 50 tokens. We told them we still want an explanation. Wanjiku wants to understand, how has my money been applied? How much is the taxation? How much is this? So we said, when you hide this information, the public cannot make an informed decision. We call it a facilitative right, where you can be able to use it to make a decision or get to know your next course of action. So if you don't get this information within 21 days, you come to CAJ or you write to CAJ. There's some information that is limited. For example, if it touches on national security, we will not give the information. Like we were doing an investigation on Garissa University. us people could get the information because you remember the attack that happened for Garissa University. Okay. We, as public, could get the information from the security forces, but you not come and saying, how are they, what kind of security was there? What was the, what machines, what equipment was the police using? That one will not be given. If it endangers the safety or the life of any person, if it invades the privacy of an individual, if it infringes the commercial interest of an entity, don't go asking Coca-Cola, your soda is so unique, how have you been making it? We will not enforce that one because it's a right commercially. If it will damage the economy of Kenya or the country, if it will damage the public entity's position in legal proceedings, impedes the due process of the law, and infringes on legal professional privilege. The lawyers in the House know that there is some information that is privileged that you cannot give for touching on a client. This is about the mandate of CARA, which you know very well. But what we are happy about is that CARA is the mouthpiece of residents' associations. And when we got this, we said this is a very good move because there are very many issues that now CARA should take up for the other residents' associations. We have their vision, mission, and how you do your work. I'll not get into that because that is your business, that is your area, you know it very well. And our business today, after this, is areas of cooperation or collaboration. We can do a lot of training and capacity building to CARA on complaints management. I know once in a while you get complaints from the residents' associations. Some other times you'll just go and get complaints from other institutions. Your members are going to the AG's office, they are being harassed, they're filing their returns, they can't get their files, or many things are happening. We can do a lot of training on capacity building on complaints management and how to deal with access to information. Somebody has come seeking information on this, we are there to help CARA on that. Provision of advisory opinions. At times you might be unclear of something. The recent housing bill, I know that one was touching a lot about on our residents. So that one, when you feel like you want some advisory opinion or you want us to move the government, we normally advise the government on our own motion. I remember during the COVID times, the head of public service then, Mr. Kinyua, issued a circular saying every public officer must be vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you not get your salary. We said no, that is infringing on somebody's right. We encourage people to be vaccinated, but don't make it a mandatory exercise. And people who are vaccinated on their own motion, but don't push them. And they adhere to our advice. We've given many other advices, and they adhere to them. Access to information. This is an emergent area which seeks to implement Article 35 of the Constitution, and we have processed very many review applications. I'll mention some examples as we move on, which touch directly on resident association. So in promoting administrative justice, we are saying that this association can hold government officers and offices into account. We have seen an example. I have a live example on my desk for Isiolo, where KERA is doing some roads. The contractor has done shoddy work. We've pushed KERA to do good because there are floods. When it rains, the estates practically flood. So we went there and told KERA, you cannot do this, get your contractor to get back to the roads. He got back to the road. He was given additional funds. He still misbehaved. So we've now enlightened the public and they are saying, we want access to information. How much money was spent on this road? Who is the contractor? How was the tendering? And I'm happy that government institution is behaving because if they don't behave, the next thing is to report them to parliament. Who wants to be discussed in the National Assembly? Who wants to be discussed in the Senate? People do not want that. So they are trying to have their best to act. We also have public participation under Article 10 and 232 of the Constitution. When institutions are coming up with policies, we need to be going as associations, as members of these institutions, to participate and give our views. Let us not just sit back and say, those who have time, mimi sina wakati. You know the Kenyan style of I'm very busy. And decisions are made in your absence. So let us take that as our right to go and participate in those decision-making activities. Then also under Article 43 of the Constitution, the country or Kenya undertook to promote economic and social rights. One of those rights is about clean and reasonable standards of sanitation. We should push the government to deliver on this promise. So I've given sample complaints from residents. I've mentioned the Isiolo one. We've had very many complaints against county government, especially Nairobi and against the National Construction Authority, where they are approving high-rise buildings in residential areas like the current Kileleshwa, where high-rise buildings were not allowed. Those complaints are in our offices. It is upon you as residential associations to take up with those institutions. If those institutions don't act, CAJ is there to address your concerns. We also have access roads being blocked. We've seen those things, those complaints coming to us. Where you wake up today, the county government has blocked this road. They have sold this land to this person. There's no access for the common person. We do all those things. The other day we took up a motto on dumping along Jogoo Road, where you just see people just go and dump rubbish and trash. It's upon us to ensure that the public enjoy clean and healthy environment. So how do you complain to CAJ? Yes. That is how we complain to CAJ. You can walk into our 6 offices. I'm winding up. We are in HQ along Wayaki Way. There's a building called West End Towers. You come to 2nd floor. That is where we are based. Then you can go to Kisumu, Mombasa, Eldoret, Isiolo. We have an office in Garissa and Nyahururu. You can advise people to go there. Then we also have our Huduma centers, as I mentioned. They are 12 in number. We have Nairobi GPO, we have Kajiado, we have Nyeri, we have Embu. I'll give the notes. We have Bungoma, Kakamega, we have Kwale, Taita Taveta, we have Makueni. You can go to those places. We have a free toll line. This is the one I encourage members of the public to use because we pay for them. You're not charged anything when you use this number. Just call. We have a dedicated customer care service whose business is to pick calls and record them. And the legal team, most of the officers in CAJ are lawyers, so their work is to pick your complaints, screen them, address them, and we are very effective in complaints resolution, by the way. And we have an email. You can send through your email, complaint@ombudsman.go.ke. Then there is the Complaints Management Information System, the CMIS. This one we are soon partnering with the Means of Public Service. CS Moses Kuria is very keen on something he's calling PASHA. It will be coming up very soon, where you can send your feedback and complain against a member of the public or a public office that is not behaving well. You can also post your letter to our postal box, which is on our website as well. So as I wind up, I want to say what John Maxwell said. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. As leaders, this is what is expected of us. So let us focus to do our best and move this association forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I know you have really tried to rush. And thank you for trying to observe time as well. In fact, I don't want you to sit very far. Please sit on one of the panel seats because I want to invite the panelists as well to join you. Please, Dr. Bernard, if you could kindly join in the panel. This is from the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. I think Dr. Bernard is around. Please join us in the panel. I'll also request Ms. Florence to kindly take your seat as well. And of course, Ms. Irene Maithia, Advocate of the High Court, to kindly take a seat right there as well to help us in this panel discussion. We want to just get to understand a little bit more about what can we do to ensure that we have administrative justice and accountability as well. So please, if you don't mind, Ms. Florence, I want to request you to kindly join in the panel discussion. And Ms. Irene, are you here? Yeah, please have a seat as well. We want to just have a discussion. And panelists, these people are here to listen and to as well interrogate and get to understand their rights, what they can do to ensure we achieve what we are talking about today on administrative justice and promoting accountability and access to better service delivery. So thank you so much. I think I'm waiting for you, Ms. Florence, so that we can do this. Okay. All right. I'm sure you already have some questions from the presentations that have been there, and I know we will be able to really address them as much as we can, so that at least we can flow. Let me put this mic here because we're going to share that. Yeah. All right. We are more than ready to start this. I think it's a good thing to really appreciate us and appreciate what role we can play. Is your hand up? Yeah. For the questions? Yeah. Oh, no, not yet. I mean, I wanted to open the session after this so that we can have combined ones. Yes. Yes, I can see. I was just wondering whether he was stretching or Kumbe the hand was up. No worries. So please allow me, I think, use your pens and notebooks to have your questions ready, as many as we can. I have good time for questions that will allow that. And thank you so much. I'm already excited that we have people who are already asking questions and ready to go. So I'm going to ask my panelists to kindly make your answers as precise as possible so that we can give time to the people who are here to ask you as many questions as possible. And I want to start with Dr. Bennett, if I could start with you. And I wanted to understand from your end, because you are the person representing our rights here, our human rights. What are some of the rights of citizens as far as service delivery is concerned, and what options do they have in such if such rights are infringed? We know we have a lot of them, but especially in service delivery, what rights do we have, and what are our options if they are infringed? If you could take the mic and open the session with that, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As you've been told, my name is Dr. Bernard Mogesa. I'm the CEO of Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. My first time to interact with Kara. And when Henry asked me to come, I said, yes, I'll come in person. I'm not going to send someone. So I'm happy to meet with the new faces and an opportunity to do some, networking. To respond very quickly to your question, there are so many rights that are violated. And for the sake of the audience, if you allow me just to go through them, because I had arranged them, I didn't know that question would come, but I had arranged them.
Very quickly.
Very, very quickly.
Yes.
We categorize human rights into three. We have the civil and the political rights. Then we have the economic, social, and cultural rights, where many times Kara finds itself, that outstanding organization fighting for the rights. And then we have group rights. Civil and political, we talk about access to justice, access to information, which my sister has already talked about, freedom from slavery, freedom of assembly and association, freedom of conscience, religion, belief and opinion, freedom of movement, freedom of opinion and expression, I think I've repeated this, right of arrested persons, right to a fair trial, right to life, right to personal liberty, among others. The economic, social, and cultural ones, rights of the child, consumer rights, which are very critical even for Kara, family rights, intellectual property rights, labor rights, land rights, right to adequate standards of living, right to clean health environment, right to education, right to health, and right to social security. And group rights, we talk about persons with disabilities, we talk about refugees, for example. And right now we have a huge program at the Commission on the rights of refugees, asylum seekers, and the rights of indigenous people in Kenya, and the minorities as well. So it's a raft of all these rights, and our chapter 4 has 41 articles, the largest in our constitution, which has outlined those rights. Now, to go straight then to your question, what options do the citizens have? Redressing those violations is very critical, and already Director Mumbi has said those commissions are part of that justice system. Remember, Office of the Ombudsman, Human Rights, and the National Gender and Equality Commission, we are actually one. Article 59. Only that then we have the split mandates as per our constitutive acts. One of the options which we have explored as an institution, we have gone to court on many times as an institution. And when you go to our website, you can see some of the court cases that we have participated in, the successes, and even those that are still pending. The other one is applying the alternative justice dispute resolution mechanism. So again, we have deployed officers, we have trained citizens out here, and even your members, I challenge CEO, if you have not trained your membership, at least a section of your membership on alternative dispute resolution, please go ahead and mount this program. We can talk about this. It is very important. You can help us to solve some of those cases that come. Right now today, I was checking at the pending cases in our judiciary. Over 700,000 cases are pending. And each year, we get 400,000 new cases. So alternative dispute resolution is one of those modalities. The third and final one is also the alternative justice system, which has also been recognized, where we even involve the Nyumba Kumis, for those who understand the Kenyan administrative sections. You can involve people at the grassroots level based on their cultural contextual backgrounds. So those are the alternatives that we have, and as a commission we engage in all of them. One of the critical challenges, as I conclude, and which impedes on access to justice and also Kenyans enjoying their human rights, is the levels of impunity in government. And as a commission, we have pronounced ourselves on this. You go to an office, people don't care. And yet you are the ones who are paying their salaries. You are the ones who are paying our salaries, through the taxes. So as a government, as a country, we must confront impunity within the public service. There is no option. Number two, and the last one, when we talk about performance contracting, sometimes I always say our performance contracting, and I'm never afraid of speaking this, and I've spoken about this in public, is that it is just an exercise, a usual exercise. We have not seen situations where people who are underperforming are actually sanctioned. Instead, you would see them, being promoted because of either their ethnicity, political inclinations, and other factors. And these are some of the questions as a human rights institution we raise. We shall keep raising as we move along. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think we must appreciate the fact that human rights is very core, and that's the reason why I didn't even want to cut him short, because so we can know what can we do. And I think you also answered my second question on how we could work with you. But I just wanted to ask you, just in 30 seconds, still on you, sir, in 30 seconds, an organization like CARA, all these people are members of CARA. What specific way can they work with you when their rights, for example, are infringed, and especially to strengthen administrative justice that they require to have as part of their rights? In 30 seconds. I know you have touched on it, but I just want that clear.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
What they can do, we have a complaint system.
Yeah.
And you can go online, you log a complaint on behalf of the residents, and my team of officers then will pick it up and move with it. So complaints handling is very, very key, and that is a component that you can come in. Then the second and last one, very critical, we normally undertake public interest litigation. If there is a matter that is affecting a community, for instance, the commission usually goes to court on public interest litigation. So identify a matter, I'll be so happy to have my team of lawyers going to court on this one. And there are quite a number ongoing. There are new ones that have come up. I know residents in Laikipia have complained about some military exercises going on there. Very soon the commission will be going to court and seek justice for the people in that particular area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for making it short and straight. We have an advocate in the house as well, advocate of the High Court, and thank you so much, Irene, for really creating time to come. And one of the key questions I wanted to ask you is whether this is effective. I don't know, yesterday Citizen TV decided to take how long on the case of Joey. I think the news was all about this man has been sentenced and the courts are working. I mean, sorry, I didn't say they're not working. I mean, it was the story of what has been done, which is okay. That's for the people and for the interest. But I thought we still have some cases that are here that have taken 20 years, 30 years. People even move on to the next life and live their generation still addressing some of these things. And I wanted to ask you, as an advocate of the High Court, you have heard from the human rights, you also heard from the CAJ and what they are doing. I wanted to ask you, do you believe the courts have been effective in resolving administrative injustices that citizens experience?
Thank you. Yes, it is. I think it's working. Thank you very much for the question. My name is Irene Maithia, and I'm an advocate of the High Court, and I'm also privileged to be a lecturer in law at Moi University. Now, just jumping straight to your question, I would say that, yes, the courts have tried, but they still have a long way to go. And I would not really fixate and blame entirely on them, because sometimes you find the citizenry is not even aware that they have this right to administrative action. Or even in instances where they are aware, they do not take up these cases aggressively as they should, because either they don't know, or there are other challenges such as transport, logistics, or even the money to file a case, or even the ability to come together as a community or as an aggrieved group so that they can be able to agitate for whatever it is that they feel has been unlawful or unreasonable. Now, now, because I'm an advocate of the High Court, I may not want to beat the court so much. And you may be aware, we have had some notable cases where administrative injustices have been achieved or have been realized by the courts. And maybe I would just mention 3 notable cases. And the one that comes to mind quickly is the one of Okia Omtata, where he went to court to challenge the housing levy. Have we heard of that case? Housing levy, right? And this was a very, very highly publicized case, and I want to thank the media for that, because sometimes the media is very good when it comes to pushing some of these cases to the citizenry so that they can know that actually this is something you can take to court. And we see Okia Omtata going to court to challenge the decision by the government to impose a 1.5 housing levy on the ground that public participation was not implemented. And the courts went on to declare that this was wrong, that you cannot just introduce housing levy without public participation. So this administrative action was unlawful to that extent. The other case that comes to mind was a case where the Kenya Revenue Authority had also been taken to court by a member of the public, and by Oil Libya, actually, a company. And what Kenya Revenue Authority had done was that they had frozen the accounts of Oil Libya on grounds that some taxes had not been paid. This is wrong, this is unlawful. So if as citizens we don't even know the mechanisms or some of these rights are not known to us, then it becomes very hard for the courts to enforce these rights or to declare some of these administrative actions unlawful. And final case that was very notable, and I'm sure you relate to this, if you remember the 2017 general election, remember that? And there was a very highly publicized case where a tender had been awarded to a company. And it emerged that the process through which this tender was awarded was not transparent. And therefore, one of the human rights organizations called the Center for Human Rights approached the courts and on the argument that this was going to be an unlawful administrative action, and therefore we cannot proceed with this because in the first place the process in which the tender was awarded was not transparent. And the court went ahead to declare it unconstitutional, and the award of that tender for printing of those ballot papers was declared unconstitutional. So with these 3 cases, what am I saying? Yes, the courts have tried as much as they can, but the courts cannot act on their own. We have what we call an adversarial system. Someone like us as members of CARA must go to court and move that motion or move that case so that the courts can now interpret the law and declare that that administrative action was unlawful, was not efficient, was unreasonable, as the director has mentioned. So I want to ask of us as a resident, as CARA, we need to ask ourselves, how can we empower ourselves so that we can be able to expedite or realize or be able to be at the forefront on matters of administrative justice? And maybe one of the suggestions would be maybe you can have a smaller committee or a caucus which is going to specifically be looking into issues that you are aggrieved with. And then you can have representation across other spaces, like in Ombudsman, who is going to be going to the Ombudsman on our behalf. What are the issues that we feel warrant an administrative intervention, whether it's in the court or before the Ombudsman or the Human Rights Commissions? We also have universities that have legal aid clinics. Are we even aware of that? I don't think so. So what other mechanisms outside of even of the court structure, outside of Ombudsman, outside of the Human Rights Commission? What about legal aid clinics? What about the Office of the Attorney General that has what we call the National Legal Aid Program, NALEP? And NALEP offers pro bono services. So are we also approaching other entities, or rather, are we approaching other institutions? And even as we ask ourselves whether we are approaching, how have we organized ourselves so that we can be very robust in doing this?
Thank you so much, Miss Irene. We can appreciate her with a clap. Thank you so much for that. At some point, I thought of asking whether it was an injustice for the lights to go off and back on, but you're very quick to as well do what lawyers do, and I think she was heard very well from that end. Is it? Thank you so much for that. You've also addressed the next question I wanted to ask you, which was about the expensive nature of seeking legal services, and you've addressed some places where we can get, free services or pro bono services. So I think if there's a follow-up questions, you will ask that. So I will not ask that question. Florence, I think you have elaborated a lot on your roles as CAJ and what you're doing, and what practical ways community organizations such as CARA can come and work with you. So I'm just trying to not repeat, to make you repeat what you've spoken about. But I wanted to just ask you to address one thing, the assurance you give these people here and the participants that these issues, if they come to you, will get addressed and will be brought, once they're brought to you as a commission conclusively. What assurance do you give them? Because I heard you mention a bit of some 21 days, all that kind of thing. But the matter for them is that as soon as I've reported it to you, Florence, this matter, I don't have to keep following up on it. It will be done. What assurance can you give them? Use this.
Thank you very much. CAJ has a strategic plan. It has policies that he has to comply with. We have a team of lawyers who work. Those lawyers are very dedicated. When we get our complaints online, we respond immediately, because they should be able to acknowledge and tell you that we are looking into it. With the CMIS, the Complaints Management Information System that we have, you can track the status of your complaint from your phones. You can see how the complaint is moving on, and we have time frames. If it's a letter that has been done, within every lawyer knows that they have time frames, and they are praised on their time frames. Within 7 days, the complainant must get a response, and the matter must be kick off and start running. If it's an inquiry, when we are acknowledging, we'll be saying that we've written to this institution, this is a copy to the complainant. We always keep the complainant appraised about standards of performance. The complainant is not keen on the processes. They want the service delivered. And we are very keen on delivering services. We can resolve our complaints from one day. Some will call and will be able to resolve on the phone and tell you this is the right institution to do your matter. If it's a matter you're seeking legal services, for example, like Wakili has said, we can even tell you that we have an MOU with Kituo cha Sheria. Move to Kituo, they'll be able to represent you without any charges or even endless, like she said. If it's a complex matter, because we have something called rejoinders. If somebody complains against you, it's only fair that we give you an opportunity to be heard. We have time frame, 7 days response, 7 days reply. Then if we are not getting a solution, we call both parties to the office. We hear both sides and get a solution. If at the end of the day, it becomes very complicated now. The longest complaint we talk about is like 6 months, like an investigation now, where we have now to come to institutions, come through documents, come through procedures, come through policies, and be able to resolve your complaints. So I'm assuring CARA that once the complaints come to us, our business is to resolve complaints in a timely, efficient, and effective manner.
Thank you so much for the assurance. And we can appreciate her with a clap. Yes, thank you so much. I just wanted one thing, and then I give the lawyer, and then back to the people now. One case, I have had examples. You see, like how Irene did, and she gave us like 3, just one that you conclusively addressed the CAJ and, hey, to encourage them. We are very practical people. Sindio? Yes.
We address each complaint as it comes. Very urgent matters become very urgent. Last year, before the exams were done for KCSE, some girls were expelled from a certain high school. They were burning dormitories, and those people are supposed to just leave the compound and go home. We did our inquiry. We got the boards coming to our institution within a week. We had the director of education, we had the principals coming and saying, we don't want these girls in our school. They are going to burn the school. But we are saying, yeah, we hear this, but this is their only lifetime. Can we get an understanding between the institution, the government, how we are going to have these girls coming back to school? Some were saying, let them stay in the neighboring kiosks, then they can come to school. So within a week or 2 weeks, we had resolved that matter. I'm very passionate about widows and widowers and about land matters. We realize that the registrars in Kenya have a challenge. They don't respond to letters, they don't write letters, they don't respond to calls. People keep going for their title deeds. I told the Office of the Registrar of Lands, give me the mobile numbers of all land registrars in Kenya. Because we were really suffering. This is an example of a Mzee. I know Mzee wants to travel to India. He wants to sell his land to go and get a transplant. He cannot go. He cannot move. There's a problem with the title deed. This registrar is not answering. Their bosses are not answering. Then I look at my officers and they're busy doing letters. Then I say, no, letters cannot work in this situation. Let me call this registrar. And I call the registrar. What is happening with this matter? Director, I know this matter. Tell the complainant to come to my office on Monday. He was on a wheelchair. They took him there. The error was just on a green card, where they did not even enter some details. The mzee goes there and he gets his documents rectified and he gets his title deed. Another lady, a widow here, people like harassing widows a lot. This county government comes and says, we are checking your property, it's in a certain town I'm not mentioning, but we are keen to give you another land outside town. Who does this to widows, honestly? I called the registrar, this registrar, this lady must be helped. I sent even my officer to that registry with the complainant. They sit down, they look at the documents, and write to the county offices, and that lady gets her title deed. So those are some of the things that we had. It's about passion of doing this work. It's just a call.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. When you started with the examples, I was hoping you will touch one on land, which you have, which is very good. Some of these people have issues with that. Thank you so much for that. I want to now open the floor, but this is how we're going to do it so that at least it makes a lot of a good sense of flow. I will start from that end. I'll take 2 questions for the commissioner for our human rights issues, and 2 questions for the lawyer, and then 2 questions for CJ. That's better, is it? So that at least each we can do that. So let me start for them, the human rights part of it. Who has a question for the human rights side? All right, I can see. Let me start here. I'll actually walk to you. You just say your question. You know, there's building context. Don't build context. Just go straight to the question, and then we.
Straight to the question. Why are our commissions? And first of all, let me start by always thanking these people, because if they are here, they have shown dedication. So thank you for being here. And you spoke very well. Yes, my name is Mwangi Olewoltofang. The question for the gentleman, Mugasa, from the Human Rights, this is not to you, and I want to direct it. It's not to you personally. But why is it that when the commissions have done their good work, we are told it doesn't move beyond there? What must we do to empower you? Because we have kind of given up on the others, and we know the commissions have done a great job. They have done their reports. They are able to indicate where the problem is. Can he tell us sincerely what needs to be done? And with the little law that we are leading, we have read here and there, Article 1 has begun to empower us. We are ready. What can we do to empower you to empower us?
Excellent. I don't know whether the commission calls for mandamano because you can join. But anyway, I'm just kidding. There was another question here before I come to you. There was a, yes, sir. Very straight. Oh, yours is to, I am first of all at the Human Rights Commission. You have for all, eh? For all, eh? For all. Just give me one. No, just one for. Yes, we will get there. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Tabu Charles. I'm Chairman Landimare Estate. My question goes to the CEO. Bwana CEO, there is a problem here in pending cases. You have said about 700,000. And these cases, let me tell you from our investigation about these cases, these cases are coming from the criminal government officials. They are just seated in the offices. They are not doing their administrative work. They refer you to court. And that's why these cases are there. And that's why there was a time now the court came with the aspect of small claim court to handle the matters of small claim. So I think we need to take a conversation on this, because there are some issues, as Pamadam has said, there are some issues people are referred to court because they know very well these people cannot even have the legal fee. I'll come to you on that. And that's why they're taking the advantage of the common mwananchi. I was threatened and I came to your office and I wrote a statement, and the statement went dormant. And that's why I avoided even to attend meetings, because the same people, they normally send their allies who are the niece to follow us, because we are trying to advocate for the common mwananchi. Especially I've talked about the widow. I'm coming there. Thank you.
I think on human rights, when I see you got your questions. Was yours a burning one? Was it touched? It was not touched. Okay, let me just allow this one because it was he's represented everybody else.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. No, good morning. My name is Jimmy Nguli, Chairman of Katani Cosmopolitan Residents Association. Now, my question is to CEO. Now, you're touched about human rights issues and all that. And in Mavoko, generally, there are so many violations of human rights when it comes to land matters. Because today, most of the 5 acres in Mavoko, they have more than 5 titles, genuine and fake. But then the fake ones, they have the muscles to bulldoze the one who has the genuine title. For instance, I have a case now where there's a lady whose land has already been invaded. The husband died last year. Now the lady, she's poor. The 2 girls have dropped to secondary university. They cannot proceed. And now she has been going to police and to CID. And I think you should come up with your office and his office. You should come up with a system of people are being frustrated. The land issues by the officers at the CID dealing with land issues. And they also become part and parcel of maybe getting something out of the rich buyer. Because somebody talked about Kilimani coming, Croatia coming with IRAs. Those guys have solid cash and they are buying everybody. So what about the poor person or the owner of the land? Come up with something and we'll appreciate that.
I think those ones are good for you. I can give you a moment to marinate on them. Let's go to the advocate in the house. Question to the advocate. Wow, you have so many. I don't know what we're gonna do here. But let me start with you. Let me go to the faces that I've not seen asking. It is good. I know you. Everybody has, but let's go.
Thank you very much. My name is Joseph Okeo. I'm calling on behalf of. My name is Joseph Okeo. I'm calling on behalf of Akesa Residents Association. I have a question on housing levy. Actually, I thank you for touching on that bit of housing levy, because it's a cry of everybody. All of us are being deducted housing levy. Am I right? I think it's important that we belabor on that. There's something which I like to say here, which is categorical, and it was actually voiced by the AG, of Kenya, on concerning the same levy. We know very well that this matter went to court. The court adjudicated on the matter, and they said it was unconstitutional until the government does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, after saying this, even the public participation that was being done by the government, it was declared unconstitutional, but they went ahead and did it. Number 2, on the issue of the levies which are being charged, I think the Minister for Housing was on record saying that despite the court ruling against the housing levy, it must still be deducted in each and every employee who is in the Republic of Kenya. Then the other issue I'd like to talk about the housing levy is that despite all this, the imposition of the 1.5% to all of us as employees and employers, I'd like to look for your intervention and your guidance in matters legal, with respect to issues of obeying court orders, with respect to issues of trying to be able to see Mnyonge, is he being taken care of? Because actually we find it very, very difficult right now. The National Assembly, as it were, has even passed through the Senate the other day that they have passed a bill that now the capping of 2,500 shillings per person has been defeated on the issue of the 1.5% levy. Now, what is happening in the issues of legal matters as concerning the Oki Omtata intervention, trying to safeguard on the issues of us as people who are actually on the other side? Why I'm saying that is because we need to be able to understand that if the AG was on record to say that it is not good for the government to deduct this money, and the AG is supposed to be the chief legal government advisor, and even if you look at our pay slips, they are still being deducted. So isn't the government going against this law? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I know. I had another person who I wanted to get to ask that question. So don't worry. I'm still with you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind us that the people we have there are people who watch news. They know the latest things, so don't give them context. ask the question straight on, and they will get it. All right? Let's go.
Yes, thank you very much. Once again, Onyango Lennox Ndeda, yeah, 5th year civil engineering student, that is structural and earthquake focus engineering. Yeah, so I'm going to ask question on pertinent matters as far as the inventions and innovations are concerned. You say that amidst the human rights, the rights of intellectual property, human rights, I was limited by design. Yes, yes, thank you. Yeah, so you realize that a lot of current institutions, students have a lot of very compelling innovations and inventions across, from machine learning, AI, all these kinds of dogmatic contemporary issues that arise. But KIPI itself is so stringent. I think that if the right is really to be a reserve and avoid any morose and taciturn thereof, we need to advance this to KIPI. This right should also be enshrined within the incubation centers like Konza Technopolis as a right, Tatu City as a right, and the final, so that I also appear contextual. Yes, yesterday the Joey case, 6 years, and then they say that is a very small number of years. So I don't know how the litigation, the mitigation can occur. Thank you.
I just hope our panelists, you got something out of that whole thing, eh? Yes, there's a clarification on your end.
Just before the next question is taken, you've mentioned Joey was what, in 6 years?
No, he got it wrong.
Yeah. It's a life, it's a death sentence.
I don't know how to call them, I'm not a lawyer. Those people who have been arrested and are waiting trial or whatever. I complain that you are rushing Joey's case very fast. And as for us from the public, we are saying, hold on.
Okay, I will respond to that.
So please allow me. I know I have not ended the questions part, but I think now that falls on you. So I think you have your 2. I've just said 2 for now. I'm coming back. Don't worry. Let me come to CAJ. CAJ, please. Questions for CAJ, and I'll be very fair because I have noticed there's some faces that have asked questions. There are others who have 25 lists of questions. So allow me to especially be very fair to faces that have not been seen here. For example, this end looks at me like I'm not looking at all. So let me start with you, gentlemen. Please, straight to the point, no context.
With due respect, we can ask questions, we can make comments. You know, this thing of question is a bit kindergarten, you know. People come here to participate, so let's some of us can make comments and share experiences. And I wanted to share my experience with the director from ICJ, that it is indeed the ICJ that investigated, CAJ, that investigated a complaint that we raised about the academic qualifications of Fazul Mohammed, the current Director General of the Private Security Authority, Private Sector Security Regulatory Authority. At a time when the EACC was dithering, Alake Wako was the boss there, was keen to protect Fazul Mohammed. But the Commission on Administrative Justice, indeed, at the time when it was under the stewardship of Otiende Amolo, now Member of Parliament, did investigate and publish a report. So that's something, again, you can cite. But increasingly, the Commission is waning in its reputation. I'm sure today, if you asked many Kenyans who the chairperson is, they may not tell you. So when the chair comes back, Honorable Florence Kajuju, tell her that, she's not doing very well. The Commission needs to be more visible. And my question, therefore, is, why is it that you don't publicize advisories that you give to government agencies? Because it's very powerful when the other day, the Attorney General did publicize an advisory gave to government
on the housing levy and said, you know, you can't continue charging this until the law is reenacted. And I found that very powerful. You owe it to the public to share those advisory, because when you so do, there are many people with similar issues of concern that get educated, that get informed, that know that as a commission you have executed your mandate, and therefore would want to know why is it that you do not publicize, because these are not private affairs. You are a state agency. People's commissions are there to protect the sovereignty of the people, Article 1. And therefore you owe it to the people to publicize anything you do in their name. And so you should tell us why there is so much bureaucracy, why is this, cordial relationship with government so much so that you don't publicize some of these advisories. Thank you.
All right. Let me take one more, please. And I think there was, I must agree, I'm not in a very good position because we are quite a number of people. If everybody was to ask a question the way it's supposed to be done, we'll leave here at 4 p.m. And we don't have that time. So that's why I'm kindly requesting, with a lot of respect, that you just shoot the question straight on, all right? I know there will be times when we can give a lot of opinions, but for now, it's for us to get as much help as we can from the people representing us. Are we in agreement on that? Thank you so much. So one more question to CAJ, if I may, and then we shall come for second round of questions. That's okay?
Very. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I didn't carry the copies of the letters from her office. I've been with so many complaints regarding to your office on land issues. And thank you. You have been writing to DCI to give you a report. I want to confirm to you. They write to DCI, it takes 2 years, even 1 year, and even up to 4 reminders for 3 years. I confirm, and I have a reference of letter of the same. Again, there's a problem in your office again. Some of your staffs also need to be investigated. Because there's complaint in Kisumu I raised in reference to matter of land, and that matter was being attended by your office. Unfortunately, you gave me a notice of 3 months, and the delay of the letter came from post office. You need to consult with the post office. They are delaying letters. A letter you get after 8 months. Sure, I have the reference. Me, I don't talk lies. Yeah. And then secondly, in my letter you say you have given me a notification of 3 months. In the DCI letter, which you wrote, and you wrote even after 1 year, you write a reminder, there is no notification. And as per requirements, it is within 21 days, you need to get a response or an acknowledgement of the letter. So coming to the report of Parliament, I thank you. I'll write to you all the list on the matters so that you can take to Parliament. And notice, again, there's something I want to tell you. Time frame for meetings. Your meeting that you have said in my Huduma Mashinani, take it back to the village, Siaya, Busia, the other sides. Because in Nairobi here, we are well informed and vast with the information. So I think those things can help, but I have a lot I can discuss with you in your office one-on-one, with my reference and copy of my documents, because these guys are really doing us injustices. Thank you.
I think you have already secured an appointment, which is okay. So I think we have the first round. I want to request my panelists be very gracious with time. So let's be very straightforward so that I can come to the next round. Okay, I'm going to start with you, sir, and you I go next. All right, good. Let me start with you, my right.
The first question came from Joel Mwangi. Yes, we do our reports. Remember, we do our reports to Parliament. We also send our report to the executive, that is the presidency. And of course, many times these reports are not actioned. We made an appeal to the president, and now we have a liaison at the office of the deputy president. We've had our first meeting, and we are having our next meeting this coming month, April, where then we find modalities of how those reports and the recommendations can be actioned. The other question you asked, how you can help us. These institutions are under-resourced. if I told you today that the work you see the Human Rights Commission doing, we fundraise. What I get from the exchequer, I pay salaries, I pay rent, and a little bit of fuel, to move around, town. Say that if there is a violation, like you mentioned in Mavoko, then I'll check how do I send a team of officers there, or Marsabit, or where, help us push for the appropriate, adequate funding of these institutions. We have shortages of human resource. The commission is supposed to have 465 officers approved by the same government. But the in-post officers I have right now is 124, including myself. So you can see also in human resource, we are constrained. Charles, I can't agree with you more. The pending cases in the judiciary, that is why we need to expound on the alternative, dispute resolution mechanisms. We apply the alternative justice systems, which have now been recognized by our own, judiciary. And this will help, they expedite some of the matters. Say that instead of taking those matters, for example, even to CAJ or ourselves, and within CARA, we have people who have been trained on ADR. You can help to minimize the number of matters you are bringing even to these commissions. That's fine, but I'm saying what we can do to... Yes.
But you see, what I'm saying is that my research based in the civil service and their role of administrative justice. Because somebody can just be seated there, the land has not been done succession, and then it tells you, you go to court. How do you administrate? How do you give a title on a land without succession? And then you say that's succession. Because a title is a process. A title is not a matter of this document itself like that. It's a process. So if you fail to follow that process, why do you justify it at the end? Yeah, so that's what I'm telling you. That person refers you to court. What will court tell you? He will give a reference to succession and nullify the title. Yet the registrar has the power to nullify the title. Yeah, once the succession has not been done, why should you waste that money? And I come to you on the fee of...
Okay. Jimmy Nguli, you talked about Mavoko. I'll be very interested in that particular matter. But also, let us understand that we have the National Land Commission, such that you don't heap all the land cases to the ombudsman. There is that commission which has the mandate, and therefore we should be able to separate this. But let me finish, please. Allow me to finish. So Nguli, I would like to understand, maybe talk at tea, what this matter is, and then we can pick it, from there. Thank you.
Let's appreciate him with a clap, please. Thank you so much.
I think there was a couple of questions. I'll try to be very quick. And the first question I picked was on housing levy, if I'm not wrong. And firstly, as I had alluded when I was making my short remarks, was that this was one of the celebrated cases of an administrative injustice that was taken to court, in that there was no public participation when this was being slapped on the workers in the formal sector, and there was no justification as to why even the ones in the informal sector were not also in the first place, why housing levy was not being imposed of them. So there was a raft of reasons as to why this administrative action was declared wrong or unlawful. But that said, we have since seen that even with the court declaring this housing levy wrong and unconstitutional, the government is still deducting this levy, right? And we are looking at a situation of impunity of the government. And as citizens, we don't give up. We fight to the end. The government has made it very clear that they are going to appeal at the Court of Appeal. And even then, the Court of Appeal itself has refused to extend that stay, or rather to allow the government to continue deducting. So what can we do? We don't just sit back and look helpless, and that's where I talk about other extra-legal considerations or extra-legal mechanisms that we can pursue. And one of the avenues I keep talking about, which people don't take advantage of, which is not even expensive. Everyone in this room has a phone, right? when we were being asked by our gracious MC to take selfies, I saw many handsets. And as a lawyer, I was thinking like a lawyer. And I was saying, look, people are holding a tool that can actually help them mitigate some of these administrative injustices. How can you use your phone to do that? The power of advocacy. Document and publicize. If we come, there is power in the numbers. And that's why when you look at our constitution, our article talks about we the people. That shows you philosophically that there is a lot of power that can come from numbers. If as a group, as Kenyans, or even as members of Kara, we come together and as a team, as a community, and we say no to this, and we publicize these issues, for 2 days straight on, we decide we are trending some of these issues on social media, on mainstream media, whatever platform it is, I'm telling you the truth, the government will listen. The right authorities will stop and say, look, this is getting out of hand. Even if the president is boarding the plane to go to the UN or to where, he will make a call and a solution will be found. So one of the mechanisms that we take for granted is the power of advocacy, documenting and publicizing these issues. Now, for the case of housing levy, I will not delve into it so much because as lawyers, we talk about the principle of sub judice. Once a case is in court, we are barred from discussing it so much. The government has expressed its interest in appealing. There's an appeal that is ongoing. So I don't want to go into the merits of the case so much. Now, the next question was on the court orders. I've already alluded to that, that we see a lot of court orders not being respected. And from a legal point, we call that contempt of court. In our legal statutes, we have a very clear mechanism of what to do with contempt of court orders. We commit that person to something we call civil jail. But that is the letter in the law. How easy is it to, for example, arrest a cabinet secretary? How easy is it? And that is where we say that there is lack of political goodwill to respect the other organs that are supposed to be helping us enforce the law. We see the executive sometimes completely disregarding the judiciary. We have a court order, it's very clear, stop this deduction. I have a salary, a pay slip myself. I look at that deduction with a lot of pain, even as an advocate. And that doesn't mean that I'm sitting pretty and doing nothing about it. So yes, we need to do something as a group, as a community, because that's where the strength lies in. Now, the next question was by the student on intellectual property. You may not know, or you may know that our constitution in Article 40 provides for the right to intellectual property. And intellectual property are diverse. We have what we call patents. Patent protects your novel idea to a process. So you can approach Kenya Intellectual Property Institute to protect that process or that novel idea you have. That will be a patent. If it's a musical or artistic thing you have, that will be a copyright. The Constitution also allows you to go and protect that copyright. Again, we have trademarks. If you have a distinct mark that you do not want any other person to use it, you protect that intellectual property through a trademark. And the final class of intellectual property is what we call trade secrets. Now, the space of intellectual property is a space which is highly technical. I must admit that. I must also admit that it's a very bureaucratic process. For example, even registering a patent can take you up to a year or 2 years. And during this period, someone else can easily run away with your idea. So sensitization in that space, because we have also very few lawyers who have specialized in that area, I admit it's a challenge. But if you have a patent as a student, you have a very novel idea that can crack problems, because the society rewards you for how good you're solving a problem, right? That's what we are doing even right now. We are sitting here to look for solutions. So if you have a novel idea, it's a patent, and you feel it's a patent, I can assist you. Please come and talk to me. I will help you register whatever intellectual property you have with KIPI. Now, the last question was on Joey's case. I think this was highly publicized last night. Joey, for those who may not know, was accused of murdering Monica Kimani. And there were 13 witnesses that were called to testify, and there was overwhelming evidence that Joey and others who have since not been convicted were placed in the scene of crime. And therefore, the burden of proof shifted to Joseph Irungu to explain how then it is not possible for him to have murdered this lady. And last night, he was sentenced to a death sentence. So now, the question is why his trial process has taken 6 years, and we still have other suspects, our accused persons who are still in remand. And how our justice system works is that the trial process for criminal cases is one that is easily swayed by the public emotion. So if we have a criminal case that attracts a lot of public scrutiny, remember the courts are judicial officers. Judicial officers are human beings. They read what we tweet, they read what we post on Facebook, they read what we put on Instagram, and they are moved if it is a case that has a high public interest. So that could explain why this case took 6 years, and yet we have other accused persons who are still on remand, and yet they have taken more than even 6 years and their cases have not come to conclusion. So maybe that could explain that. And he also said he was appealing, so let's wait and see whether he's going to file an appeal or he's going to start serving his sentence. The death penalty just now, this is off the cuff remarks, was declared unconstitutional, but the judges have the discretion to impose it. So from where we sit as advocates, that is actually the bench or the judges have the discretion to actually slap you with the death penalty. So I hope this deters anyone who is thinking of chopping off.
Hakuna kitu kama hiyo.
Thank you. Someone's head.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you, CEO. Thank you, Wakili. To the gentleman who commented us on the Fazul Mohammed case, thank you. We took it up in court and he was found to have forged his certificates, and we leave that to the government of the day to continue either rewarding or punishing those who are guilty. On the publicizing advisories, because of what our CEO of our sister commission has said, we have challenges of funds. However, to mitigate that, we normally have our advisories on our website and in our annual reports. You will find them there, and our annual reports are there. We implement the Access to Information Act, so we proactively disclose information. Feel free to visit our website and get the advisories. Challenges on funds are quite huge and immense. As he has said, we depend highly on donors. As there is an activity that the Commission wants to do since inception. That is 12 years ago. We've just managed to do the other day. That was inquiring into delay of issuance of legal identity documents to a northern region part of Kenya, where people are suffering for lack of passports, ID, birth certificates, and it is because we've gotten support from DCAF. DCAF is an entity, it's a body in Geneva, which is Geneva Center for Security and Governance. You can imagine since Otiende's time, they've never been able to do it because we don't have funds. The money we get is so limited that we can only pay salaries and rent. So we go asking people to support us. GIZ has been our partners for the Huduma Mashinani. When we come pitching tents, we have to get people to give us the tents, the chairs, and everything. But I've heard your cry. We need to go to Mashinani, uko kijijini, where people do not know much about us. We thought we were visible. We know the first time commissioners, Kina Otiende, were very famous because it was the first time commissioners were heard. I'll take this report to my chair and tell her that we need to increase our visibility despite the funds challenges. We've been trying to partner with local media stations. How many of us listen to our local media stations? Hata hatuzijui. So we normally say, directors, if I'm a company, let me say something about it in our mother tongue. If it's so and so, go to your media, say something in your mother tongue. Whenever we visit a region, we make sure, even after doing the activity, we pitch our tent in the market to talk to the common person. So we look forward into improving on that, but we are also welcoming donors to support us in achieving this critical mandate. On I call them my officers because they are my staff. They are staff in the department. I've never seen such a dedicated workforce. I've worked in many government institutions. I think this is the third one. These officers, as some people have been telling my commissioners, I've never seen officers who do not know about corruption. A file never gets lost at CAG. They will push NLC. We have pushed NLC. We have summoned them. They have had challenges on land because of an acting CEO who has been there for long. The day she was confirmed, I'm telling you, she sent a team of our officers in our file with files of land matters for us to be able to resolve. Because we told our chair, we cannot resolve these matters. Meet in your meetings, as constitutional commissions, and they discuss and they engage. Right now, we have all matters for NLC being addressed, and we've seen members of the public, even those who sold their land during the SGR, get compensation. And you'll hear an officer saying, the complainant has gotten 20 million compensation. That they'll never ask for any money, and their joy is just to report as a success story. So what I'm saying is the Postal Corporation could have made a mistake. We know the challenges. We know the challenges of our Postal Corporation. It does not have money, but We have also said when you are filing your complaint with us, please give us your email address. Please give us your mobile number. Our commissioners have been gracious because our phones can make direct calls. So we know they have allowed us to resolve matters in the best way possible. Even if it's a WhatsApp chat, we will chat you on WhatsApp and print it because our business is to resolve complaints. And we also have the mandate to recall files from the regions. I know my Kisumu team is very dedicated. I've invited you to my office. Come, we discuss, recall the file, and see. Most probably it's the NLC that has challenges, but they are seriously working now that they have board. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're here to as well get as much information as possible. In fact, I want to now start this other way, going back. CAJ, any question for CAJ? Anyone was who had one? I can see 1 and 2. Yes, yours was for CAJ or the other side? Or it was for her? Yes, I promised him, then I'm coming to you. So please.
Thank you very much. I think we are impressed. You understand the subject very well, the three of you, and we are really impressed by your responses. Now, my questions is about public participation. To what extent can we rely on this public participation? Because more often than not, from the national government to county, it's just a PR exercise and a mockery of justice. In many, it's predetermined, decisions are predetermined, but it is just there, and even the people are who are going to do presentations in those forums. Question number 2, there are two concerns only. Now, we have a matter from our residents association. I come from Ndov Road residents, part of KLDA. Somewhere in Kalen Prince, a church which is on Havaneka discharges raw effluent, and that has been dealt through the KLDA association, through NEMA and all the government agencies through the county. To discharging even filth and water to the neighborhood. To how long can we wait for justice to be done? And this is a health hazard. Those are some of the issues that we face.
Thank you so much for that.
See, Jay, I heard you say you do take some subject matters for motto. Could you take up then the BB case, the BB farm? Because I saw an MP intimidating the public on TV regarding that land. I think there is a public interest issue that needs to be dealt with on that matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My question to CAJ, yeah? I come from Biwandani. We end a fire tragedy, the Sinai one, eh? And there's a judge called Judge Edward Moridi, dismissed that case. But we end the complainant who had lost life, the houses, and I wish the Kara could have been also enjoined in the case as the amicus curiae, because every resident matters, and doesn't matter whether you're in Mabati or Gorofa, live Lavington, eh? I like Kara because they belong to everyone, eh? And then when it was drawn out, and as you started, you said, when the case is in the courts, you don't deal with it. But now, sauti ya mnyonge, umesema ninyi mko nayo. Because sisi watu wa kukaa huko, tuko wanyonge, we lost our people, we lost our property. How now can you are through your office, help us to get justice? Because we knew Songo was very passionate about the case. But when he became the governor, because Nairobi City Council was the respondent number 3. Aliache hizo vituko. Sasa tukabaki kivyetu, eh? So tungesaitika aje. Thank you.
All right, final one here.
My name is Kerongo. I'm a resident vice chair from Embu. I'm directing a question on our institution, the universities. People work for them, but they don't pay for the services. It takes up to 6 years. What can we do about this? Because they are pending bills. People work for them, but they don't even respond when you write to them.
Thank you so much for that. Questions to the advocate. Let me come this side. I can see some hands here. 2 on this end. Let me start here.
No, because I've been very patient, I'm going to CAJ. All right. And to be fair to this young gentleman, I have done what he's done, and I know he's struggling. So I'll try and sum up. But we are very passionate when you invite us. CAJ, you love to protect widowers, and I think we're in the same category, also the elderly. I worked some years ago with HelpAge Kenya. I have worked with the youth. I am myself, considering myself, I don't know which position I'm in now with my age. There is a lot of pain in this country, a lot of pain. A lot of pain because we don't know where to turn. Now the beauty with what Henry does for us is true, and I concur with that gentleman. Henry fights askara for everyone. Hakuna mkubwa, mdogo, Karen, and even the rich cry. Hata wale watajiri wanalia. Because there are some tajiris who are honest, there are some poor who are honest. But here we have a challenge. In Southlands, Langata, for 2 years, we have complained about noise, and I belong to the church and I love the church. But even church must learn that there are rules and laws. We are finding out a church has taken possession of a place within the neighborhood. In this church, they worship throughout 24/7, evening, morning, drumming, and I'm telling you honestly, old men and old ladies, our mother's age, I am not very young myself right now, but they are our mother's age, have been complaining. We decided as a law-abiding country, we follow the system. We wrote letters to the county, we have written letters to the chief, we have written letters to everyone. This was the final one. And I was told if I come here and I don't do this, then I should also be fired from living within that residence association and even the place. Here in Langata Mugomoine ward, 2 individuals have grabbed public land. One individual put up a Mabati church, another put up a tent church. This was in the year 2021. The Mabati church makes a lot of noise, beating drums all night. The tent church plays loud music wherever they meet. We as residents of the estate complained to the chief, ward admin, and even the sub-county and the governor, Langata, Nairobi. And the structures were marked to be removed within a notice of 30 days on this date, 18/08/2021. Since then, nothing has happened. We keep complaining. Even the police have come but cannot do anything. We suspect, now this is the other part you must deal with. We suspect that money has changed hands. We suspect that these are people with political connection, and we are harassed in what is what we have invested in for years. So this was sent to EACC. I want to also acknowledge that you must be doing something. This was the response. Thank you for reporting to us. The matter should be resolved through Nairobi County. Given no action, we advise that you report to the Commission on Administrative Justice and on your behalf, and the office as the oversight over the operations of public offices, and they gave us the address. I came here today for you.
Aya, sawa, amefika. Thank you so much for that. I think that one is a straightforward one. We don't even have to address on that. So, let me see. Yes, tulikuwa hapa, ipande. Yes, yes, sir. You have a question to the advocate or to who? Parliament issues. That's the advocate. Hi, let's go.
Okay, thank you very much, the panel. My name is Jenga Kamoyo from Dagoretti. Now, my question is this. According to our constitution, there is nobody who is above the law. Yet, you have told us some of the issues you take the names and you take them to Parliament, and they are mentioned there. Then, if Parliament is not able to solve the issue, it is taken to court. Like the issue of the house levy, it was taken to court. Yet, the judgment has been disobeyed. and yet nobody is above the law, and the taxation goes on. So, from the parliament and the courts, where should we go next? I would not like to trigger Mr. Atwori, who is very good on strikes, because the government does not have a reverse gear. This is what we have noticed. Once they have decided on something, they move and move on, even if the courts decide. Therefore, after this, is there another level where we can go unless we resort to strikes? And one of the ones now, which is really pinching mnyonge ambaye hana haki, is the doctors and nurses strike. When they go out, those people at making those high-level decisions, they are not affected. They can afford to go to private hospitals. Yet now mnyonge whom the person now tunatetea is the one who is affected when the doctors go on strike, because they cannot afford to go to those other issues. And let me just highlight about makelele. I'm also a Christian and I like, but I have also written letters, and I wrote about it is a law about sound pollution. You cannot raise the voice above 55 decibels. It affects the ears, and actually it is something which was seen. It was investigated in France. You know, France, they like music and enjoyment. But after a time, they noticed that people were not responding to horns on the roads. When they investigated, they discovered that the eardrums had thickened over a number of decades, such that they had become impaired. So it was made a rule that you cannot make a sound beyond 55 decibels because it is a health hazard. And even now disturbing infants who are supposed to sleep for so many hours. Therefore, they don't grow up well. And now the teachers have to shout because they cannot hear them. So it is not a simple issue. And if it was about a bar, that bar is closed immediately. Why are we having this rule about sound pollution? It is not being distributed equally. If it is a bar, if it is a church, noise is noise. And if it is a law, the law should be applied equally. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I hope that one, I think, Advocate, you can touch on that. Excellent.
Small question to the advocate. My name is Sam Odhiambo from Nasra Guardians Residents Association. As I was listening to the advocate, I was also getting concerned that our legal system and even our legal framework is limited to the most occasions advocates like to defend rights of the individual. And we residents associations are always at a ransom. Advocate will assure somebody, oh, that's your property, that title deed you are holding in your hand, that's a private property, and you can do what you like. Residents associations are the ones always fighting on the weekend. As a residents association representative, I have around 4 to 5 letters written by advocates, always condemning our work, talking of how associations infringe on rights of property. As you go forward, given that you are even a lecturer in law, as you go forward, don't you think that there will be need to review some of the approaches that advocates take towards that issue of private rights? Thank you.
I want to move now to the human rights, but I think there was a burning hand here. Advocate, question?
Asante. Thank you so much. My name is James Kanga. I come from Roraka Business Community. That's an umbrella body of companies and industries in Roraka. I just have a very simple question to the CAJ, because we have a case where an investor is being denied his right by some of the politicians who are trying to take away his land, right? right now in this country, one of the major problems that we have is unemployment. So how can you help us or help this member of ours be able to recover his land so that he can put up whatever kind of industries he wish to put up? Thank you.
Good question. Let me go to the Kenya Human Rights Commission. You have a question to the Commission? Anyone with a question to the Commission? Just going once, twice, I'm just checking. Okay, that's a good one. But I think there's some questions that have been asked that touch on you as well, CEO. So I think you will choose and see what you can comment on that as well. Let me, there was another hand here that was burning. Which one was it? Was it? Oh, yeah? It has been asked. Oh, okay. You guys are discussing who is going to ask. Eh? I like that. This one's come from the same association, I guess.
Good morning. My name is Kitavi from the Kilimani Project Foundation. And I want to say this. When Kara is holding the bi-monthly talk series, more often than not, it's easy to perceive that when we come as representatives from our residents association, we are complaining a lot. We are not. We are just representatives of where we're coming from. But I want to say that we commend the good job that Kara is doing. Bwana Henry, we really commend you, and we commend your foundation for the beautiful job that it's doing in even bringing together the bi-monthly talk series and bringing us together to make sure that we exchange notes on the best practices that we can enhance where we're coming from. I have a question to Ms. Irene regarding development and how the legal process looks like in that. A lot of times it's growing to become a standard operating procedure that when a developer is coming up and they don't follow the due diligence in what they're supposed to do, the residents association need to come up with some funds, put money together for a legal practice, a legal suit to be taken to court, and by the time all that is coming into place, I mean, they've already constructed, and we're talking about now demolition, which doesn't make sense, honestly. So are there any best practices that can be applied so that this process can be expedited when we raise a petition and say, hey, this thing is illegal, it's not supposed to be here? It first stopped or stalled from development continuing, and then now we have these conversations instead of looking like, I mean, investors taking advantage of the fact that the legal process takes too long and nothing can be done immediately. Thank you.
All right, let me come to the house. Oh, there was because I'm checking CAJ. CAJ today. CAJ today, you're in the house, eh? Okay. Make it very short, sir. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Convener. CAJ, please just note this. 2 questions. One, most of us are actually we are members of Residents Association. I was wanted to ask this question that in the event that maybe there's a litigation in court and the member does not have the ability to hire a lawyer, can you come in and be able to assist in terms of getting a lawyer for either the Residents Association or as an individual? Because lawyers, you know, they charge money which is almost close to the central bank. So I believe that, can you be able to assist us on that, if possible? Number 2, I come from a place called Ruai. And then there's a road which has been constructed there for the last 3 years. The contractor was given the mandate to do that road. The road has stalled. He had put there boulders. The bridge is not done. As we speak now, there's a big setback in terms of mobility of vehicles, because there's a bridge which has been dug, and now a vehicle can't cross the bridge to go to the main road. So I wanted to ask this question: that what role can you be able to play in this matter to be able to safeguard the residents from further anguish in terms of mobility? Because when you come to issues of mobility, there are times whereby one can get sick at night and wants to go the next road, and they can't access that road. And then the other thing is that when that one is infringed on the property of the public, we still have a government whereby I hear that the contractor has not maybe have been paid. So what happens in situation whereby a contract has been signed and the contractor is supposed to be paid his dues, and then something happens in terms of not being able to be obligated into their threshold in terms of payment, so that they can be able to do their work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And finally, at least a lady in the house.
Morning, everyone. My name is Rachel, and I want to talk about this Nyayo high-rise estate on Bagadwe. It's a gated community that looks so good from the road. But when you get in there, it's like, I don't want to use the word ghetto because I reserve that comment. But what I want to say is we've also had our share of issues. Some of them I may not discuss them openly because I said in a meeting we had with Kara on the weekend that sometimes when you mention some issues in that estate, they come for your neck and they threaten you. So, but we have those issues to do with bars and drug abuse. We have a university just next door. And those are now the, like the people who are targeted by the people doing business in that estate. Apparently, with all due respect, they call themselves the business community. So when we go to work, even if you go right now, you will see people seated there pretty, some are pretending they are doing games and all that. We have a football field there and all kinds of things. But in those back, they are called what? The bags they carry. You might find there are drugs there and all that, and they are attracting those university kids and those kids growing in that estate. I mean, you come there today and you even wonder why some of us are there, but maybe by God's design. But the thing I want to mention to the CAJ and the panel is we have written enough letters. And the moment, apparently we even have a police post and the chief's camp is just 100 meters. In fact, we are neighbors with them. You go report to them, they know those people who are doing that. Then they send you to Langata, go and report to Langata. And you know that somebody said here, the twisting. You are taken here, you are taken there. We've written to the county government, NMS when it was there, the OP, the what, everything. How can we be assisted? Because sometimes we feel like we want to come incognito, we want to do it without being noticed. Because the moment they get to know you are talking about it, you know what happened in this country. So we really need help in that estate. Because, okay, we had a case in court, but that one, I don't think it bars the administrators from doing their part. Because we even have roads there. From the road, you might think everything is okay. But the moment you move inside, you will notice potholes just from, we have the MCA sitting in that estate, but you will wonder whether that office has eyes. So we really need assistance because even if there is a court case, that does not bar the road from being made or the amenities from being taken care of. So kindly help us, and we want the estate to get its former glory. Thank you.
We all want these estates to get their glory. Thank you so much. Let me first of all get answers on this, then we will end on this.
Okay. Thank you very much. After consulting with Director Mumbi, we have agreed that I can respond to the question on public participation. And I agree, many times, you know, things are worked out in such a way that people are stationed to respond positively and endorse documents, even at the county level. But I must also say that if the citizens may face some challenges. For instance, if it is the budget or the finance, you know, bill being discussed, do we have people with knowledge on, you know, matters finance, for example? How do we get those people to participate? We also see a challenge in terms of, do we have a policy on public participation? The answer is no. I'm aware we had a draft public participation bill, I think for how many years, Irene, now? Almost 10 years. We do not have an express law on, you know, public participation, in as much as the Constitution has said that public participation is a requirement. But we need a law to effect, you know, that provision in the Constitution. So this one is not there. What has the Commission done? KNCHR. We have, in our recent discussions with the committee, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly, we have asked them to prioritize this among the very many pending bills which are before, the House, even including the reparations bill. Wale watu ambao waliumia ile miaka, they have never gotten justice, and we need a law. I'll be very happy to meet the person, the mzee who asked about Ndabibi. I will want to have a one-on-one with you after this. Then there was a question, Bwana Kerongo, of pending bills. Pending bills, there was a committee established under the chairmanship of Bwana Uko, who was the Auditor General Emeritus. And the institutions, we were asked to fill and disclose the pending bills that we have so that the government prioritizes. And I assume that Embu University must have prioritized this. And as an accounting officer, I can say, when I have pending bills, because they will always be there, they form the first charge when you begin a financial year in July. You look at the budget that you have been given. The law allows us to pay those pending bills. So you look at your budget, you ask your teams to realign and make that provision to pay those pending bills. So this could be a matter of follow-up and see whether they made that provision. However, there are instances where institutions are given money, but then also delays in terms of payments of those monies. And how does this happen again? We have challenges. There is something known as IFMIS, and I want you to understand how IFMIS works. IFMIS is a platform which allows us to expend the government resources. Last year, from October up to mid-November, IFMIS was closed. So even me, I could not pay pending bills, including rent. When it opened, we were able to, start the process of paying. Then they closed the window of the supplier. So you as a supplier, you go there. I have done all my part as a commission. I can see I owe you 10, 20 million. I have authorized as the accounting officer for that payment to be done. Na imewekwa by the officers. Imeenda through my hands. As a supplier, your window is closed from treasury. So we have those challenges. We must acknowledge we have those challenges. So don't tire. Please keep on following. Is it a problem at treasury? Is it a problem at the institution? All those are challenges that we face using that particular platform of IFMIS. And then finally, Bwana Kamweu, was it Kamweu? The doctors' strike. I remember 2019, 2018, somewhere there, the commission, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, we had to mediate that strike of doctors which had taken 100 days. And we were able to bring the doctors back, to work through a mediation. The courts have already pronounced themselves on this strike. They have declared it illegal. The doctors have said they will proceed. So the question I talked about impunity in the morning, from the executive, they disobey. So as I'm saying in the Boma, when you disobey, what do you expect the children to do? The children will also say, dad, does things this way, and therefore, but impunity is a wrong thing. And I think I need to end it there to give Wakili.
I think in the interest of time, I will not respond to whatever he has covered, but I'll quickly respond to, I think there are 4 questions. Out of the 4, 1 is a repetition. Now, there's the issue of developers that has been raised, and that there's a lot of high-rises and apartments and all manner of things coming up. And my response to this is 2-pronged. Firstly, when you see these buildings or whatever constructions coming up, as a citizen, you have your rights in law. As a private citizen, firstly, and then as an association, you also have your second layer of approaching, seeking remedies. And when the developments come up, because the question was that sometimes they are coming up and it goes all the way, you protest, and it goes all the way until it's constructed, and we are at the stage where it's supposed to be brought down. But you need to know that even when they are beginning to build this construction, you can run to court and get what we call an interim relief to stop the construction from going on. But even in the event that it still goes on in complete defiance, or the courts do not even give this interim relief, or you're not even able to approach the court on time. I remember there's a case we had for some development that was coming up someplace in Buruburu. Let me not mention the parties. And when we went to court, this is what the judge said, that there is nothing permanent on land except land itself, right? That anything can be brought down. Even where we are sitting right now, the court can pronounce itself and give an order. And the next thing you see is those, what we call the caterpillars. They come and flatten that within 2 minutes. Haven't we seen that in the past? So you need to derive consolation from the fact that, yes, I agree, sometimes we may be constrained in filing the case in court. But even when we come late in the day and the construction is still going up, all is not lost. There are other remedies you can still pursue. You can fight that case until the point where you get the order to have that building brought down, and that sends a warning to others as well. And like I said, we need to learn how to combine different strategies. That court process alone is not the only strategy that can give you a solution. I talked about media advocacy. I talked about the power of collaborating as a community. You come together and even make noise, or even do I don't want to call it picketing, but you combine more than 2 strategies. Because remember, when you're in court, even the judges or the magistrates adjudicating on these matters, they are human beings. They know what is going on. So the louder you are in agitating for your injustice, the better for you. So that you shouldn't feel constrained by the fact that lawyers are expensive. We are not always expensive. It just depends on what it is that you want, the remedy you are asking of the court. Because even the courts themselves will charge a fee. I use a fee. So don't all have this perception that legal representation or court process is the only solution to an administrative injustice. We have about 7 other mechanisms that we've mentioned to you today. And the next question is on housing. I've already talked about that. Yes. I don't want to go into that. The case is in court. There is contempt of court. Let it rest for now. The next question is on the contractors that have not been paid. I think my senior here has already talked about pending bills and what to do about that. So I believe I've addressed any question. If there is any question that has not been canvassed, please approach me when the session is over. I will gladly respond to them.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you, Akili. For CAJ, the catch is only one. Our mandate is on public entities and public officers. For the people, the private information only. On maladministration, make sure you tag a public entity or a public officer. So if it's about noise, those who have addressed, talk about noise from churches, please make sure when you are writing to us, talk about NEMA in action. Or the chief will take it up from there. Address us, write to us, and you see those other offices. From there, we will be able to take up your complaints. Same applies to the roads. People have talked about roads that are poorly done. Tag the public institution. Is it Kera? Is it Kura? Is it Kenha? From there, we shall address your complaints. The secret with CAJ on maladministration is bring a public entity on board, and we'll take up that matter. The issue on the Wandani, we said our mandate is already in court. I have a loud voice anyway. In court, however, I've heard your issue that if a matter you can up. But if you feel that you need more experience, we have the judiciary. If you feel that you cannot exhaust court remedies, but I believe that they'll also tell you that lecturers, almost all universities have challenges. When those satellite colleges were closed down, they got financial challenge. The same case is happening the pending bills, but I've seen very many vice chancellors coming to our office after we summon them. What we are telling them is that we are not reporting them, but we want a workable solution. We want an ADR. Are you able to pay in installments? We've seen Masai Mara paying, then Kimathi paying. The other day I had the VC of Moi University coming to my office and they had paid a substantial amount. So please lodge your complaint with them. If they don't pay, write to us and we'll call them to our offices and they'll pay that money. The other, okay, Southlands, the same. EACC will want consent evidence, but they've told you to come to us, write to us again. On legal representation for resident associations, I mentioned about our MOU with Kituo cha Sheria. We will refer you there. They will assess if you are suitable. If you qualify to be given free legal advice, but I doubt if they will give a resident association or CARA free legal representation because they look at the poor of the poor in the society. Hi, it's a case, and if you want to launch your complaint anonymously, we allow. But help us to help you. How will we respond to your letters? Give us any working email. Those who know ICT know how to come up with those emails that you cannot even tell who is sending this email. Launch your complaint anonymously. They'll never know who is doing it, but the work will be done and the public institutions will behave. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and Paul Lesana for the mic, but I believe let's appreciate the panelists with a round of applause. What I have had because of time, and we have to also observe time, some of them are going to hang around here, so feel free. If you have a personal agenda, feel free, okay? So this moment, I want to request the CEO to kindly come. He has an announcement. That's okay, that will be... It's not a panel. It's not a panel. Yes, yes. Please.
Thank you so much. Let's give a clap to Maina Chege, that's our moderator. Thank you so much. I think you are coming to the end of this session, and I don't want to take much time. We are going to have closing remarks after this from one of us, but I just want to make one or two announcements. Number one is we've had a very good session, right? We've learned a lot. I'm sure some of you are going to get solutions to some of the things you've been grappling with for over the several months or years. Our team here is CAJ is here, Wakil is there, the Commission on Human Rights is there, so I'm sure your issues can find a place in terms of solution in one of these three people. Number two is that next week, on a day like this, on Thursday next week, that is 21st of March, we'll be in the same place again, same venue. What will we be doing? We know we have issues with Kenya Power. Kuna mtu ana shida na Kenya Power? Hata tukiwa hapa ilizimika, si ndio? So we have issues with Kenya Power. We've forged a partnership with Kenya Power, and what we've told them is that we want to put them in a platform like this to directly respond to issues. Because tumeenda kwa ofisi, tumeandika mabarua, some things are not happening. So we've agreed in a partnership with Kenya Power. We'll be holding forums like this with them, with the leadership of the Kenya Power, so that we can bring our issues and engage them. Let them respond to us, let them tell us what plans they have to address our concern. So if you have not confirmed your participation, because we sent out communication, please mark that and please send your confirmation, because we suspect the numbers will be big, so we want to control. Meaning that we'll only admit those who have been able to inform us in advance that they are coming. So if you are not there, we'll tell you, we are sorry, the room is full, because the hotel doesn't have room that can carry a certain number of people. So please, if you have to confirm, please confirm your participation. We'll take that down, and then let us come here on Thursday next week at a time like this. The entire leadership of Kenya Power will be here. We want to engage with them. We want to tell them our issues. We will not propose to them solutions, because like we say, we are not just about complaining. We also have an idea of what needs to be done to address some of these issues. So we'll also tell them we want it to do 1, 2, 3. And also tell us this is what we are planning to do. So please, let's mark that on our diary and let's engage on that particular day. Number two, the week after next week, that is on 26th of March, we are going to have our AGM, the annual general meeting for KARA. And that is for members of KARA. I know some of you have not renewed your membership. Please, before the AGM, we want your membership to be up to date, because that's the only way you can be allowed to participate and even vote and take some decisions. So if you are here and you've not renewed your membership, we urge you to do that before the AGM, which is on 26th of March, and then we will expect you at the meeting on that particular day. And the communication has been sent out especially to those who are up to date with their membership. So yeah, I think those are the two things I wanted to mention. Apart from that, we have tea and snacks after this. Let's continue interacting, let's engage, and let's find solutions to some of the things I talked about. Otherwise, asanteni sana for your time, for your patience, for your questions, for your ideas, and let's continue working together and joining hands as resident associations so that we can be able to create a positive impact on our society. Asante.
Thank you so much, CEO. Athanamu, if you could kindly come and close for us with the remarks. He's part of the Governing Council member at KARA. Karibu sana.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have had a wonderful morning. Don't you agree? So let us give our wonderful panelists a clap. And our wonderful moderator. I think mine is to basically to thank all of you for coming. I want to first of all thank Daniel of Han Saido for the 110th talk series. I think it was a chairman who mentioned 20 years, but I've known you for your organization for the last 30 years, because when I was in Institute of Economic Affairs, you are supporting us. I think keep up the good work of supporting this wonderful work of educating the public, because without this forum, some of these issues would not come up. I think we are very clear that impunity is a problem for our country, and you know, the good work that CAJ and human rights and others are doing, we want to really appreciate that. Keep up the good work. Continue despite, you know, all sorts of impediments along the way. Thank you for advising the public also not to give up, but to keep up looking for alternatives. Because without the public pressing, we will not see the end of this impunity. Because it's really unfortunate that courts are being disobeyed. This is not the first time. The previous government had the same problem of not obeying court orders. And we are in trouble as a country if we don't keep up pushing the people who are in charge so that they can be able to deal with these issues. I want also to thank Henry and the management team for organizing this wonderful talk series and all the others that you continue doing. I want to also urge you to write to the Secretariat on any matters that you perhaps want an answer to. The Secretariat will deal with it. The ones that are coming with the Kenya Power, the same. I think I may be repeating what he has said. Write your questions before the session with the Kenya Power. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to manage the issues. I want also to assure you that management is going to, Secretariat is going to continue dealing with the questions you have raised, even after this particular forum. So thank you very much. I don't want to give another seminar. I was supposed to give a summary, and thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you so much. I also wanted to just close by saying, asanteni sana, and I apologize to the people I may have stepped toes on for not allowing you to speak as much as you may have wanted. You understand, by the program we were supposed to be out of here at 11:30, and I managed to steal some extra 15 minutes, and we don't want to be penalized more. So thank you so much for your time. I think the CEO has said we have some tea and snacks, so please, as you walk out, interact, and please let's as well network and get to know what are you doing in your residency that I'm not doing, and those kind of things. Asanteni sana, see you next week. Bye-bye. I've just been told there is a volunteer once again, but not the other one. Thank you so much for the first prayer. We want to close with a prayer. So we're going to have it from Langata side. Eh? Yes. One second. We are praying. Yes. This man has a question for everybody, but don't worry.
Let us believe and pray. And I want to say for all of us, sometimes when it comes to prayers, many may think a lot. But if you look at everybody and you look them in the face, the book that we follow, which is the Bible, says that God created us in his own image. So it doesn't matter where you come from. And if you go with that spirit, then you won't be troubled. So let us pray in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, we just want to thank you for a wonderful deliberation that we have had today. We want to thank you sincerely for these men and women you brought before us. We know that they are serving you and they have dedicated to be servant leaders in a very hostile and sometimes very challenging environment. We know that they have done all they can, and Father, we pray that you keep giving them wisdom, and we pray for their families, that you may increase them in every direction of whatever it is that they seek in their lives, that you may walk with them in every part of whatever question they have asked you, so that they may be fulfilled. And we thank you that they have dedicated themselves to this day. Father, we want to thank you for Kara, for the ability for them to bring us together, to fight on our behalf, a good justice cause, a fight that is worth your cause. And you have said that you're a God of justice and a God who cares and who loves his people. And therefore we bless Kara through its chairmanship, we bless Kara through its CEO office, and all the staff that have done whatever they have done today. We thank you for the MC who has really struggled to be able to navigate and govern us in whatever it is we are doing. And we pray for him and his family wherever they are. For the participants who are here, Lord, we pray that you bless each and every person who has taken time, dedicated their hours to come here. It is not in vain, it is in good hands, and it is in good works. We pray for every hands that are represented here, that you bless their family, bless their businesses, bless their places of work, bless even the offices that they hold. And Father, when all that is done, we shall glorify your name and call you Abba. And for us, as we are being dismissed to have a cup of tea or coffee or whatever snack we'll have, we pray that you will be able to bless it so that it's nutritious for our bodies and healthy for us. For this hotel, we pray blessings upon them for hosting us in kindness. And for those things that are intended in our hearts, we pray that, Lord, you shall grant them. We pray this in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.